Welcome to A Cup of Grace, brought to you today by the Home of Grace. We're coming to you from the campus of the Home of Grace, and I'm Wayne Hudson, and I am excited and pleased to have with us today a gentleman that I have come to not just know and befriend, but someone whom I love dearly. He's a great friend of mine and has been for many years now. His name is Jesse Guerra. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning, Wayne. It's a pleasure being here with you.
I am so glad you could come up, and I mean that literally because you had to climb some steep stairs to get here, didn't you?
You betcha.
And but you made it,
Yeah.
and I made it, and we're gonna have a great time. I want to talk to you briefly. First of all, I want to kind of announce to everyone that at some point in the very near future, you're going to be retiring from the Home of Grace. Now, how many years were you here at the home?
I started in February of '99,
Mm-hmm.
so this would be my 20th anniversary.
Wow.
So
That's a long time
It
to,
sure
to
is.
spend here on Bluff Creek. And I can imagine that you have an awful lot of stories that you could tell about your experience here. Why don't you just share a few of them?
Well, let me just start off by saying this, that when we moved from New Orleans to Van Cleve,
You and your wife.
my wife and I moved here, and it was a cultural shock to begin with. I mean, coming from New Orleans, coming to this place.
Mm-hmm.
But once we settled in, I was looking for work. I had done counseling back in my hometown, in my church, and all that. But I just didn't feel right by not doing anything. So I came across this at church where Brother Bill was pastoring, and they were looking for a night staff
Mm-hmm.
to do night work. And so I told my wife, I said, honey, I think I'm going to check that out. And that was the best thing I could have done.
Mm-hmm.
So I was under the tutelage of Brother Bill. And the first thing he told me was this: Jesse, if you're going to do this kind of work, you have to love the men.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to really learn to love them. Because, there's some things you just don't care for.
Exactly. Especially if you're OCD.
Yes, sir. yeah, you're right about that. But anyway, it was a pleasure getting to know Brother Bill, and for the few years that he was working with us here at the Home of Grace,
Mm-hmm.
that was the one thing that I really learned from him, things that I probably knew but never put it into action.
Mm-hmm.
And so I began to learn to love these men in their drunken state and their all kind of things. But on one occasion, I got to meet one of the men that Brother Bill wanted to win him to the Lord, and he said, I'm going to make this my life's challenge. This man will come to know Christ.
Mm. And
I'm sadly to say, but Brother Bill died before the man came to know Christ. But it was amazing, the stories I could share with you about Brother Bill. But one of the things that I learned real quickly, Wayne, was this. In working with the men, you really have to have a compassionate heart.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't love them and, okay, you got to have compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And I practiced that with them, and I learned to really, when I said I love you, I meant I love you.
Meant it. You had chosen to love them,
Exactly.
irregardless of who they were, where they came from, their history, and all that.
That's it.
That's what love really is, I think. It's a commitment to love in spite of.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And the first couple of years that I spent here, I started doubting myself as to what God had in mind. I was ready to sell my house that I had just built and go back to New Orleans. I couldn't get used to it.
Uh-huh.
But one of the aha moments was one day we were eating at the cafeteria, and at that time they used to have a little cup with a lot of scripture verses.
Mm-hmm.
And this young man pulled out a scripture found in Psalms 94, verse 19. And it talked about how we need to trust God.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me was amazing, because I was ready to go home. I couldn't get used to this country life. But that aha moment really stuck in my mind. I went home and I told my wife, I said, you know, honey, I said I was thinking of just packing up and going back. But it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for forever. So here I am, 20 years later.
Wow. I've been here a while myself. I hate to date these videos, but I've been here about 16 years. And of course, you were here a long time before I came.
Yeah.
And you and I have built a relationship over the years, and it's been an interesting one.
Yes.
But I wouldn't take anything for it. And I love your wife. She's Betty the Beautiful.
You got it.
And she's famous in our community for being so bubbly and happy all the time. Maybe one of the reasons, I don't want to give you credit for her happiness. No. Could have something to do with it, okay? Jesse, it's been wonderful having you here with us today, and I want to do this again real soon. So before you retire, I'd love to have you back up again, and we'll talk some more.
Sure, be my pleasure.
God bless.
Thank you.
And folks back home, thank you for joining us today here at A Cup of Grace, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.